Well, kiddies, welcome to Triggered, coming to you as always from Secret Hidden Bunker in the Rocky Mountains, Dragon House Studios. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Michael Bain, and I'm excited this week because we're beginning a new build. We're going to be building over the course of, we're not going to do it sequentially, we'll probably jump around on shows, but we're going to build a 458 SOCOM pistol. And what I want to do today is take you through the parts, my decision on parts, why I chose what I chose. Also going to show you a new gun from Ruger that I am really excited to be working with this week. But I wanted to start out by showing you this 458 SOCOM. It's a Wilson Combat. I built it up out of Wilson Combat parts. It's a Wilson Combat upper, receiver, trigger, all of those things. And a few years back, I built this gun up. And as we talked about on the show during that period of time, this gun became, a problem child. What does it mean when I say it's a problem child? It doesn't always go bang. It was a real issue with that gun. And I even took it to my friend Nick Collier at Double Star. Nick's been an AR armorer for 20-30 years, one of the most knowledgeable AR people that I know. And Nick couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. It was, I guess, what you would call a whole series of small problems. There was not one big diagnosable problem, but it required a little bit of polishing there on the barrel extension. It required staying with dedicated magazines. So I like this gun. I'm pleased with it. It's kind of a nice gun. The scope on it, by the way, is an old Burris MTAC 1-4. Those things are tanks. They're really good scopes, and now they've been eclipsed by 1-6, 1-8, 1-10. So if you want a really good scope that works well with a cartridge like the 458 SOCOM, you could do a lot worse than a Burris, just like this. So why don't we do this? Let me take this gun off the table, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of parts here. And in the course of today, I'm going to take you through my decision-making process. I'm pretty sure you've all heard numerous times the story of the creation of the 458 SOCOM. Marty Terweems, lifelong martial artist, also very good friends with a lot of people in the Special Operations Command, SOCOM. And one night over adult beverages, this is what, 2001, whatever, they were talking about how the 5.56 had been ineffective in many of the Special Forces needs. And Marty said, well, you know, you could make a different cartridge that ran on an AR system. And if you go back far enough, they were pretty much 5.56, and you had a choice between 5.56 and 5.56. Or, if you were really radical, 5.56. So Marty ended up designing this bottleneck cartridge, the 458 SOCOM rebated rim to run in ARs out of AR magazines. With 458 diameter, he chose that specifically because there are lots and lots of 458 bullets. There were some other rounds in this category, most notably this guy here, 450 Bushmaster. And the 450 Bushmaster had basically been a failure. People knew they could make it, they could build a 45 caliber AR, but they kind of shrugged it off. It fell from grace. It did come back. Both of these cartridges, the 450 and the 458, were essentially designed to duplicate that. That, of course, is a 4570. It's old, hundreds of years old. It's still an amazingly good cartridge. So the idea would be to achieve 4570 ballistics out of an AR platform, specifically an AR-15 platform, was easy conversion. So we go through all that. The reason 458 SOCOM, I believe, didn't take off is the very first time when Marty and Tony Rumor, who would form Tromex lead dispensaries, I think it's something like that, to build the first 458s. I had maybe the first or second upper that they built. I couldn't get ammunition for it. I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. So at the very time the cartridge was born, and there was this tremendous interest in the cartridge, not only could you not get ammunition for it, you couldn't get components. You couldn't make your own ammunition, no brass. So that's all changed now. 458 is an accepted caliber, very popular caliber. So I said I wanted to build a pistol length gun. I kind of agonized over barrel length. What's the heart of a gun? The barrel is the heart of a gun. The barrel is always the heart of the gun. To me, the way I've started on any build, on any project, go ahead, fill in the blank, is with the barrel. So First, I wanted to agonize a little over the length I wanted. You can get really short. You can 5-6 inch barrels for 458. However, I wanted one that would do a good job on the burn, on the powder burn. I think the cartridge is designed around a 12-inch barrel. I'm willing to cut a little on that, so I opted for a 10.5-inch barrel, and I went with Tromix. Why? There's maybe 5 or 6 other 458 barrel manufacturers that I know of, and not to diss anybody, but Tromix invented it. Tromix built the first one. Tromix holds the patents. Tony Ramore. I spoke with Tony and said, hey, I want to build up a pistol. And he goes, you decided on a barrel length? I said, 10.5-inch. He goes, smart man. What's the second most important thing when you start talking about AR-15s? This guy right here. It's the bolt. The bolt is a critical function on an AR-15. So what I got from Tromix is not just the barrel, but I got sort of a match set of the barrel and the bolt. Because once again, Tromix made these things. So this is a very specific 458 bolt that Tony's been making for a lot of years now, and they are considered the absolute gold standard when it comes to 458 bills. So 10.5-inch barrel, a 1 in 14 twist. You can get a faster twist, a 1 in 10-inch twist. And that's if you want to shoot really heavy bullets at subsonic velocities. You might want to then look at a little faster twist barrel. But I wanted a more universal kind of barrel. I went with the standard 1 in 14 twist. And from there, you get kind of this morass of huge amounts of other choices. Before we go to commercial, I'll just bring this choice up. I asked Tony, I said, hey, I got your bolt. Any thoughts on the carrier? And he goes, none whatsoever. Pick a mil-spec carrier, any mil-spec carrier. As it happens, this is a Brownell's bolt carrier group. It has a bolt in it for a 458 SOCOM. You're like, well, why did you buy one that already had a bolt in it if you had a bolt like this? It was on sale. Dirt cheap. I got a great deal on this whole bolt carrier group. I'll replace the bolt, obviously, with the Tromix bolt. But so that's the first step. We got the barrel, we got the bolt, and when we come back, we're going to talk about other stuff.
This week's Triggered is brought to you by Ammo Man. What's in your ammo can? Tandem Cross, making good guns even better. Lipsy's and their wonderful Guns of the Month. Lucid Optics, on target, under budget. And Franklin Armory, creating some of the most innovative guns in America.
Get ready, big bore fans. Lipsy's next Gun of the Month is definitely for you. It's a stainless steel Ruger Super Blackhawk in .44 Magnum. So far, pretty common. But the Lipsy's touch includes a 3.75-inch barrel, Bisley grip frame, which really helps absorb the kind of recoil that you can get out of some of the hottest .44 Magnum loads. And believe me, a Super Blackhawk can handle any of those loads. It comes with super black laminate grips. They look excellent on the stainless steel, and an unfluted cylinder, once again, proving that Lipsy's not only knows how to make super powerful, super easy to pack guns, but boy, do they have a sense of style. Lipsy's Gun of the Month, Super Blackhawk Bisley .44 Magnum. Welcome back to Triggered. I just wanted to do a little bit of tease of something that I'm working on this week, and we'll be reporting on it in depth in a week or two, something like that. This is the Ruger LCP-2S, the Striker, in .22 long rifle. And of course, that compares to the LCP in .380. This is actually an LCP Pro. It's my favorite of the LCPs. I love the sights on it, I like the trigger on it. It's not the striker fired version, it's a hammer fired version. But in any case, this is a gun I'm going to be working with. So far, I'm very excited about the idea. .22 long rifle, 10-in-1, a little over 11 ounces. It's got this special easy rack slide. It's got a little bump on the back so you don't slip off. safety that's integrally, safety that's designed for your thumb. Push forward easy. So be shooting this all week. I'll bring it back to you, tell you everything you need to know. Parts. Next thing, once you got the barrel, once you got the bolt carrier group, let's jump into receivers. My big agony was upper receiver. What did I want? I didn't want a forward assist because you don't need it. So I wanted a receiver also that was designed for the big fat 458 cartridges or the 450 Bushmaster cartridges. I went to Cross Machine Tool. They are excellent manufacturers of AR parts, have been for years. And I got this guy. This is the CMT. You can see there, Cross Machine Tool upper receiver. And you'll notice it's smooth side, no forward assist. And secondly, this is opened up larger than you would expect from a normal AR. Doesn't have a dust cover. That's to clear these big cartridges. I also made the decision, because of the high quality of their work, to go with the handguard also from Cross Machine Tool. They made up essentially absolutely perfectly here with the barrel and everything. It makes for a really smooth, unified gun. Also, I like the way that their handguard attaches. Here's the barrel nut. And it screws, of course, onto the barrel threads. You torque it down. They give you this wrench, which they say one-time use. Okay. One of the reasons I like the barrel nut is because it does away with you having to align the gas tube. You're going to have a gas tube that in the receiver here, the gas tube has to line up perfectly. And you'll see one of the things that's neat about this is the barrel nut is relatively small. So the gas tube, plenty of clearance on the gas tube. You don't have to have that gas tool alignment tool to make sure it lines up perfect. Once again, torque, release, torque, release, torque. Okay, there you are. So those were major choices. And then I wanted to go down low, right? Lower receiver. And that was hardly a choice at all because I had this guy, and I think it's a great receiver. This is from Nick Collier, from my good friend Nick Collier Double Star. It's a pistol receiver. I've used it on a 300 Blackout gun for a while. We actually built this as part of an old show that Marshall Holloway and I produced called America's Rifle, all on ARs. It was hosted by my good friend Jeff Cramblett. I miss working with Jeff. But we built this receiver specifically for that show. And I said, this is a good receiver. It's an excellent receiver. I like Double Star parts. So we went there. It's got a good trigger in it, not a great trigger. So how do we get a great trigger? Timney. Timney is how we get a great trigger. That's a great trigger. It's a 4-pound single stage trigger. It's the same trigger that I use on my 3-gun rifle, which I've fiddled with over the years to get it exactly like I wanted it. So this basically is AR-15 Timney trigger, 4-pound single stage. I'm going to drop it into the Double Star receiver. You'll notice that this magazine says 458 SOCOM. This is a Wilson magazine designed specifically for 458 SOCOM. It's a Lancer manufactured magazine. Lancer makes superb magazines. Other choices now, this is some DL magazines. I've used their AR magazines. I like them. I like them because they're coated with like black nitride, really slippery surface. But you'll see here, once again, these are 458 magazines. That solves a lot of puttering around with other magazines, regular AR magazines, trying desperately how to figure out to get the darn things to work. And some of them won't. People say, oh, I converted my mag pool to 458 SOCOM. You may have, but it may not work much. Anyway, because I can explain, but it's not worth the trouble. If you're going to play 458 SOCOM, buy the magazine that says 458 SOCOM on it. So now we're getting kind of down to, as we say in Colorado, stems and seeds. Got an upper receiver, got a lower receiver, barrel nut, all those kind of things, handguard. I decided not to use the Double Star plate, retaining plate on it. I went ahead and used a Noveske that's got a quick detach sling mount on it. Why? Because typically on a pistol like that, it's the perfect place for it. Sling mount will fit right here. Obviously the plate goes on the rear, holds stuff in, but that way, essentially I can sling the pistol with a single point sling, bring it up really quickly. I think that's probably the best choice, and Noveske builds, great stuff. How can you fail? Gas block, yeah, get a gas block. This one's from Tromix, why not? I need some more parts here, little bitty parts. I went with Geisley. When I get lower parts, I mean, everybody says just get a mil-spec kit, but the thing is the mil-spec kit ends up costing you, not very much. But if you get Geisley parts or you get Springer Precision parts, you solve the issue. You got good lower parts. So I happen to have a Geisley lower parts kit. I've got most of the parts in here, but whatever else I need, I've got in this kit. Other important thing that I wanted to show you, it's a pistol. So we have a brace. This is from Double Star because it's one of my favorite pistol braces in the whole wide world. It is, and look, I'm opening it up for you. It's a Double Star strong arm brace. It's very, very well designed. And like so much from Double Star, Nick doesn't beat around the bush. Nick designs for tanks. It's all metal. This buffer tube is specifically designed for this pistol buffer. So it gives you an excellent rock solid system. So that's why I went in this direction to the Double Star strong arm brace. My two favorite braces are Gearhead Works tail hook and the Double Star strong arm, absolutely unconditionally. In terms of charging handle, I'm in a rut. I always end up getting these Viltor's charging handles because I like them and they work. What can I say? I like them and they work. Finally, one other thing to show you that's kind of an interesting beast here is I got a 10.5-inch barrel, I got a 9.5-inch handguard. And so basically, when everything's installed, the threads of the barrel will stick out. I wanted some sort of muzzle device. It's a pistol. So I didn't want a compensator or muzzle brake because that throws enough fire for, I don't know, you could actually signal another planet. So Tromix designed and makes this guy. It's a linear compensator. So this part screws on the barrel, and then this internal part screws on the end here. And you can see the holes there. So what a linear compensator is doing is it's throwing blast, sound, and gases forward, which is important when you're dealing with relatively short barrels. I've never worked with this. Tony said, boy, you're going to love it. Looking forward to it. So in our next installment, we're going to actually get started and obviously install the barrel to the upper receiver. First thing, build out the upper receiver. Then pop out the lower receiver. It'll be quick. It'll go very, very quickly. The great thing about ARs is if I can assemble one, you can assemble one. So I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered. You can find us on michaelbain.tv. You can find us on YouTube. Very excited about that. Our YouTube episode on the PC charger, the Ruger PC charger, just crossed 85,000 views. Please, by all means, go and subscribe. You can subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I also subscribe to the channel on Vimeo Plus, where we are. You can find us lots of places, and I'm hoping to have an announcement for you any week that's really exciting. There's a lot more people we're going to be reaching. So until next week, look, I got my hair cut. I snuck out of the house to a bootleg hair cutter. Maybe house arrest will be over by next week. Stay safe.